Morden and Winkler did get together on this bylaw, the accommodation bylaw, because, we have similar chain hotels in both communities. We didn't want to fight against one hotel charging a different accommodation tax than the next community. So it's not a tax on the hotel as much as it's the person renting the hotel that will be paying the accommodation tax. So the net proceeds from the accommodation tax will be held in a reserve fund, and it will help with planning new events. It will help our community maybe create new events. So we might want to attract new events to the city. Can we retain events that we've had held in the past that we can maybe get back every year or make bigger or better? Corn and Apple would be an example. Can we encourage the Back 40 to promote and expand their event? Winterfest is an example. Are we attracting visitors to the community to come and explore Winterfest? Can we enhance economic development to Morden through the accommodation tax? Can we encourage and promote more tourism? Can we use the accommodation tax to improve visitor amenities and facilities that we already have in the community, or improve on to encourage the overall tourist experience? So that's the intent of the accommodation tax. So, right now, if I go to Winnipeg and book a hotel room, or I go to Brandon if I'm attending the winter fair in Brandon or Ag Days, or I go to Winnipeg to a hockey game and I spend the night, I pay an accommodation tax. And the City of Winnipeg or the City of Brandon uses those funds to promote the city or promote the amenities I go to or whatever, and they use that tax to bring more tourists into the city, as the hotel industry says, put more heads in beds, and that helps the hotel industry bring more people into their hotels. And that's the intent of this tax, is to have Morden attract more people into Morden that are going to stay the night. That puts more people into the hotel rooms so that their rooms are filled more often. That if the City of Morden didn't help promote and encourage more people into the community to spend more nights, overnight stays in the city. So we feel it's just a win-win situation. So those who are visiting will pay 1% on their hotel room this year. They'll pay 2% next year and 3% the year after, and then we'll review the whole situation and look at the benefits that the hoteliers are getting from this tax. And hopefully they'll see a benefit in room numbers increasing and day numbers, heads in beds, the number of nights that their bookings are increasing, and how the dollars are being spent, putting them in reserves, and how those dollars are being spent to encourage more people into the community and more people spending the nights.
One question about our housing shortage. Sometimes the hotels can be used by people who are using it for affordable housing, sometimes less than 30 days. What does it look like for those who might feel that this is an extra cost for people like that?
So like even in Morden, we have some transitional housing. They will be subject to the accommodation tax. So if we're not using our transitional housing for our immigration, let's say the exploratory visits, and we're renting them out for rentals, they will fall subject to the accommodation tax. So the City of Morden will be subject to them just like anybody else, or accommodation if we're renting them out for less than 30 days. And the one area that we're still maybe under some review is the Airbnb. So that if it's less than one unit under an Airbnb ownership, we're just looking at those. And campgrounds are not subject to this. the campgrounds won't be impacted by this bylaw.
And so, so those that are maybe using it temporarily for housing just because they don't have something at the time, some people have mentioned that perhaps this might be more than already that they could spend or bear. What would you say to those who are saying that this would have an impact on those that are in that, I'm going to say the term homeless, or in transient housing, using hotels maybe for shorter stays to in between places to stay?
There's been some comments raised that maybe hadn't been thought through, but I just know some of the comments that have come up, we're taking them back. First reading has gone through, but it's second and third reading where if some revisions have to be made, they'll be made at second and third readings. So most of the people have been notified on the process of getting on the agenda for presentation for second reading. So yeah. It's not a public hearing where we post it in the paper, but if they know second reading is coming up at next council, they just usually we ask if they just phone the office and get their name on the delegation to speak. They can have a chance to speak at council. And when the second reading comes up, then they get on the list. So they're more than welcome to contact the civic office and have they can speak at second reading. Yeah.
Do you know how many establishments this affects?
All the hotels, and for Morden, all our transitional housing, the Airbnbs. At this point, whether we make an exception, Airbnbs are on the list as right now, but there's been some ask as whether Airbnbs are included if an Airbnb is just one location, like one rental, as an Airbnb. If it's more than 4, there was asked to be a restriction there on numbers. So that's being looked at to see if there's some discussion on there. So Morden and Winkler are going to get together for some further discussion on this.